Top lineup is back, baby.
Ayo, ayo.
Episode number 50.
Nice.
Happy Valentine's Day. We're
Happy
recording on
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. We love baseball.
Hey, shout out to our wives, just
Yeah, allowing us to do this.
appreciate it. Right.
Whoops.
Yep. I had to get a permission slip and everything, man. I had to call your wife and just ask, just like the good old days when you were a kid. Hey,
Yeah. Can we play?
Can
I forged
my
the
gosh.
signature on mine.
Oh
But
man.
another good interview
Oh,
coming your way. Dude, we just keep
We're
getting
just-
great baseball minds, and it's not even us, it's them. Like, we're just asking questions and letting them tell their baseball story. And this is another good one. RBIRA.
MLB content creator. I mean, MLB ambassador, former college baseball player. I mean, like the whole gamut, man. He was awesome. He was awesome to talk to. You're gonna hear. I mean, I feel like the theme in this conversation, we're not gonna give you too much details, but is resilience. So dig into that.
And
listen in on
yourself.
That. Being yourself. Yeah, it was a great. I mean, man, we're so fortunate to have awesome people come on this podcast and really just talk about the sport that we love and learn. I'm learning from all these awesome people that we're talking to. And again, RBIRA, I mean, resilience, just looking back. Wow.
100%. Well, without further ado, here's the man of the hour. All right, we're here with Ira Doran, RBIRA on TikTok. You've probably seen his post. MLB content creator, ambassador, former D3 college player. Got a little ball in him. Played at Pfeiffer University and 2019 Eastern College Athletic Conference D3 champ. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you guys for bringing me on. Like we talked about before, it's a pleasure to be on here. And I know things with baseball are kind of slow right now, especially with content and the lockout and everything. But it's always good to come on board and meet new people, to connect, to network, and do things such as that. So super excited, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man. I mean, one way or another, got to help grow the game, and like just having these conversations definitely help. So again, yeah, thank you for coming on. If you could just give us a brief summary of just your playing experience. Like we said, right, you played college ball. Would love to hear you just kind of your experience, your progression. Go for it, man.
Yeah, definitely. So started out when I was like 3 years old. Been playing baseball from little league to high school. Played in high school, got a little bit of exposure there. I've always loved baseball, been a baseball fan, enthusiast, just live, breathe, eat, sleep baseball. And so, out of high school, got some exposure, told myself, hey, I wanted to go to a smaller school where I'd have a chance to play, where I'd have, that exposure and just learn and just grow. I'm a big advocate for learning, for growing, and being in a culture or being in an environment that is able to cultivate you as a player, as a person, as an athlete. And so got an opportunity at Pfeiffer University to play baseball there, came in as a shortstop, ended up being converted into a second baseman, which I thought it would be a lot easier of a transition, but from short to second, man, the field is like completely, it's flipped. It's flipped. So if if there's anybody out there that thinks second base is a cakewalk or just, is easy, it's not. But yeah, played all 4 years of college ball. My last year got cut short because of COVID. Which a lot of athletes, dealt with that. That was something I had to deal with. And so my biggest thing was walking away from the game as far as athlete and playing. But, after it was cut short, my thing was TikTok was out and booming. And I said, if I'm not going to continue my career in playing baseball, why not make videos? Make videos about baseball. And I know TikTok it used to be Musically before, and everyone was dancing and stuff. And I told myself, I'm not much of a dancer, not much of an entertainer. I don't have any special, gifts that I can pull out my pocket. But I thought back to, my just playing baseball all my life. And I've had a true love for the game and just the dedication, the hard work I put in. I said, why not make videos and put my passion, my inspiration, the love for the game into those videos? So, kids, teenagers, pro players, whoever it is, if you love baseball, they can watch it. So, that's a little bit about me, what I've, how I'm connected to the game and where I'm at now.
Yeah, and don't sell yourself short.
Yeah.
You got some moves, man. You got some dances. I see some of them TikToks. All right, come on, man.
I've definitely. This is crazy, and I'm gonna put this out there for anyone who wants to go look at it. But if you scroll all the way down to my TikTok page, you will see some dancing videos, and they're very cringy. They're very, well, at least for me, they're very cringy. Hard to look at. But yeah, you can find those on the TikTok page, and they're sprinkled in every now and then. A trend will pop up, and I'm like, it takes two good moves for me to get this TikTok dance. So I'm gonna post it. I don't have to remember much. So I do have some of those out there, which it's all fun. It's all games, and I try to let people see a different side of me sometimes, other than just, I'm gonna post all relatable content on baseball. Throw out some baseball puns, throw out some dancing, throw out some just things that people don't see you do on a regular. So I do have some dancing on there.
Oh yeah.
You got better moves than Soto and I. You won't catch Soto and I doing TikTok dances. Dude, we might though. We might have to now.
Hey, we're a bit offbeat. Sometimes I swear to God, me and Juan, we always cut each other off at least once in every episode. And
it happens.
It happens. The rhythm.
This one started early, but it's all good. It's all good.
It's part of it. Part of the plan.
Yeah. Heck yeah. So playing at Pfeiffer, right? And am I saying that right? Let's start there.
Yes, okay. It's Pfeiffer. Yes,
Pfeiffer.
I thought I was.
Were you gonna say Pfeiffer? I was hoping.
No, I'm not that bad. Come on now. So playing there, right? D3. What was your goal playing there? Like, are you trying to? Everyone wants to get drafted. Everyone wants to play in the major leagues, right? Yeah. And I totally get that. And are you trying to? You mentioned playing at a smaller school, so you get a chance to play. What was your overall goal going there?
So my overall goal, definitely was to make it to that next level, whether it was indie ball, whether it was, signing a pro contract or whatever it was. But I did have, alternative goals, which was to make a difference on a team. And I some people say it's very cliche to, be in that baseball community and, hey, I want to be a leader, this and that. But I really felt like going to a smaller school allowed for me to do that. It allowed for me to, not just lead, with my voice, but lead by example. And just to, allow for the coaches to see, hey, I'm going to go every day. I'm going to pack my lunch pail. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to put all I got into the sport. So, and this is something I tell D3, D2, D1, little kids, anyone my age. I'm like, it doesn't matter what school you go to. It doesn't matter what level of ball you're playing. It really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is, are you being your true self? Are you impacting the world? Are you impacting the baseball community or whoever is in front of you? We all, I think, have a purpose on this earth. And for me, it's, if I'm gonna go to a smaller school, my purpose is to, play hard, work hard, inspire, motivate. So that was my biggest thing, coming in there and letting, people know, like, hey, even if it's a Division III school, man, we can go to work. We can get our work done. We can, we can build this baseball community. We have each other's backs. We can motivate. We can, impact. So that was my goal. And like I said, I wanted to play beyond school, and with COVID and everything going on, it was kind of, do I continue trying to play baseball and pursue that, or maybe jump into a career field or whatever it was. I chose to, not go back to school and take my extra year of eligibility and make some content and work and make a living. But yeah, D3. And what some people might not know is when I first came into school, our school was a Division II school my freshman year, and then we went over into Division III. So we're making a transition from when I first got in, but it was very eye opening. I got to see some Division II, caliber of play, and I got to see some Division III caliber of play and make a connection there between, what is the difference between D2? What is the difference between D3? And it's crazy because you saw some players at the D3 level who could play at a Division II or maybe a Division I, lower level Division I school, and you saw some, Division II players the same thing. Which brings me back to everyone's playing. You just got to go out there and play. Go to a school that fits you. Go to a school where you can make a difference. And even if it's playing time, go to a school that fits that. If you want to play and hey, I got two people over me, it's either I'm gonna go work hard and beat them out of their spot, or maybe you do find the school where that chance might be right in front of your face. So definitely for me, going to a Division III school was better for me. Made me a better person. It made me realize that Division I, Division II, D3, JUCO, NAIA, whatever it is, we all are people. We all are athletes. We're all wanting to play the game of baseball.
Love that. Especially Valentine's Day. We're talking about love.
Yes.
Baseball is our love, man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you touch on a really important subject, because there's a perception, a lot of high school baseball players, right? D1, right? Like that's end all be all D1, right? Yes. And just want to get your take. Like what would be your advice to high school players, right? Looking into a D3 school or D2 school, JUCO, right? Like what would you say is the best way of kind of researching that?
So the best way of researching that is, for me, it was always looking at myself, looking at, do I want to go to a big school? Do I want to go to a smaller school? Maybe even a mid-sized school? So I first started out looking at, what school do I want to go to? Which environment would I fit in the best? So if it was a smaller school, which there are smaller D1 schools, there's bigger D2 schools, bigger D3 schools, but I said, hey, I will fit in a smaller school. So, identifying, what school you want to go to. If it's bigger, then, you might want to shoot on the D1 side because those schools are a lot bigger. And then identifying your playing ability. I'm a advocate for being realistic, being, logical with myself. So if I know, hey, I want to go to a bigger school, but I might not have the skills to play at like a Division I school. Maybe look into Division II schools that have that D1 caliber of play, but just the hands-on and still having you have that big experience at a slightly smaller school. So for high school players, like you said, you touched on it a little bit. You said everyone D1 is like that top tier level we all want to play at, but there comes a time where you have to sit back and look at yourself. Which type of school I want to go to? Also, when we talk about academics, being a student athlete, is my major offered at that school? Because you can go to Clemson and you might not have your major offered there. So it's like, man, my dream school is Clemson, but this Division II school that has the same caliber of play has my major, and I'm getting playing time, I'm getting exposure and a chance at the next level. So, academics play a big part, which was for me, I was a business major, and the Pfeiffer had, business management is what I took up there. It was a small environment, checked 2 boxes off my list. And just the culture that they had was awesome, fantastic. So therefore, I looked at myself and was realistic. I said, hey, right about now, I don't have, many D1 looks, and it's coming time to where the recruiting window is closing. This school has my major. I love the culture. It's a small environment. Why not go? And for high school players, I know it's a lot of high school players are really making that decision now, what school they want to go to. If they want to go smaller or bigger, go to a school that fits you. Go to a school that fits you. And if you know that you're going to put the hard work in, you're going to do all you can to make it to the next level, whether it's D3, D2, D1, JUCO, do it. Short story, we had a pitcher who played on our team at Pfeiffer, and he ended up getting picked up by the Detroit Tigers. And it was we're at the D3 level. And I said, wow, that was a moment where I said, D3 players can make it. Division II players can make it. You have to be willing to put in the work, which is that is a true testament for high school players who may feel, oh, I want to go D1, but I don't have the D1 playing abilities. Go to that D2 school, go to that D3 school, go to JUCO, and put in all that work. Put in the work and leave nothing on the field, and the chips will fall where they fall. So that's my biggest advice for high school. Just know yourself, know where you want to be, and pursue that.
I think that's a great perspective, especially on the education piece, and really just finding something that fits you, right? Because of course, right, baseball is life, but there comes a time where you have to be real with yourself and say, hey, all right, well, if I can't make the team, what's my next step? I'm not just going to go to a college just because of the baseball program. I have to think about myself, right? The environment, like you said. I think the biggest thing is that degree. Like you said, I mean, business for myself, it was psychology. I needed a psychology program. And the school I went to had a great baseball program. Alex Vesia, Dodger player, played at Cal State East Bay. That's the school I went to, and it had a psychology major. And hey, I was real with myself. I couldn't play D2, but I had my next step and said, hey, you know what? I'm at least going to get a degree, and I'm going to set myself up. And I'm still in the baseball world, right? Doing this podcast. Yeah. Yes. That's one thing that I appreciate just from your perspective, is just kind of have that plan, right? Don't just don't have the what. You need to have the how and why, So thank you for that. Have an add-on question to this. So of course, right, there's the advice, but how would you advise players to get noticed? I looked you up, the NCSA. I see your video. I saw your video, your high school video. That's freaking awesome. What would be the best advice for high schoolers to get noticed?
Man, I'm glad you asked that question, because it's crazy. The world is crazy now with technology and just social media and marketing for yourself. One of the biggest things you can do, even if you don't sign up, to those recruiting platforms or whatnot, if you want to start somewhere, it's recording every single thing you do. If you're in the cage, record it. If you're on the field, if you can't record it, get your mom to record it, or your dad, or your girlfriend, brother, sister, recording and posting it. Right now, there's TikTok is blowing up, Instagram, and all this everything is blowing up. And we're seeing, these days, somebody can go on TikTok and just blow up, get 500,000 followers. And they're a recruit now, or they're getting noticed. Everyone knows them. So for those who don't know where to start, it's 2022. Just everything is booming with social media. Record and post on social media. Post. Be bold. Tag a college. It might not be that coach that's running that page, but somebody might see it and say, hey, I need to get this to a coach. I need to, show him this guy is, wow, he's blowing up, or look at the tools he have. So definitely posting is one advice I would say. And just from more of a traditional standpoint, of course, comes with practicing and knowing where you want to go, knowing your skill set and everything else. But there are recruiting services out there that you can go create a profile. They'll put in your weight, they'll put in your age, they'll put in your stats, they'll add videos on there. I know for football, a big thing is huddle. So huddle is something that football players have just emerged from, which is blowing up. You'll have 2-star athletes go to 4-star athletes just by posting a few videos on huddle, and, dragging along a couple of clips together, and boom, you got a highlight reel. So, finding some of these profile pages that you can go and post, and then talking to your high school coaches, talking to even if it's travel ball coach. With baseball is really big. It's a big network of people. So if you say, hey, my coach played at, even if it is Pfeiffer, my coach played at Pfeiffer. I know he played there. I know he has some connections. say, hey, coach, I know you have a connection over there. I know you've networked with some people. Is there any way you can get me, into a camp or any direction of where I can go? He gives you a camp date. He gives you the price and everything. For kids, you go beg your mom for money and then you go to the camp, which leads me to my last point, camps and showcases. I did many, I did quite a few showcases, and that opens up so much exposure. I'm sorry, I lied. This is not my last point. I have one more point, but the exposure with camps and showcases, I know some people shy away from showcases and they're saying, hey, I just want to do the travel ball route, which is no problem with that. Travel ball has so much exposure, but for those who may not be ready for a travel ball team or don't want to pay the money for a travel ball team, invest in a camp, invest in going to a showcase to where you have, sometimes there's 5 coaches there, sometimes there's 20, 30, 40, 50, colleges there where they can all have their eyes on a certain set of kids. And you're one of those kids who are there at that showcase. If you just happen to show out, and get a look, all power to you. That's great. But setting yourself up for success is the biggest thing, going to a camp, going to a showcase where you can show your individual skill set rather than, travel ball. You still can, but it's from a team, it's team oriented, which leads me to my 4th point, travel ball teams. Travel ball is absolutely blowing up and it's crazy. When I was younger, I begged my parents to sign me up for travel ball. I'm like, Dad, Mom, I need to sign up for travel ball. This is the biggest and greatest thing right now. We get jerseys, we travel, we get exposure, like stay in hotels. And, I'm like 13 years old. And I end up, signing up for travel ball, but I got so much exposure from there as well. I know Perfect Game, PBR, there's some big organizations out that you go to their tournaments, man, you got hundreds of just college coaches, seeping through the places, and you have a good game or you make a good play and they got your eye on you. That's a chance to, blow up and get big. I have a good friend of mine, baseball dad. I know you guys, you interviewed him.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how his boys, they play travel ball. He posts their videos and he's kind of a perfect example of what I've talked about with social media, travel ball, going out there on a limb and not being afraid to really showcase your skill from just what you have. He videos his boys, literally everything they do. And he calls himself the LeVar Ball of baseball. It's like, that is exactly what LeVar Ball did, man. Like when his kids were at Chino Hills, they're shoot around in the backyard. He's posting it. He's videoing it, so it's so easy these days. If you have an iPhone, you have an Android, even if you have to set up your MacBook and record yourself, post it. It could really change your life. And just from a content standpoint of with me posting on TikTok and now I've been trying to dive into Instagram and post reels. It's so amazing how, I went from, I won't say nothing, but I went from, just being on the app to looking at videos to creating videos and starting a habit of doing this every single day and seeing how much exposure I had with posting relatable content. So imagine you take that and you are a baseball player, you are someone who plays the sport, and you do that on a social media app and you just go, full force, pedal to the metal, and you get after it, the exposure. I mean, the sky's the limit on this stuff. Like you can really make some noise through social media. So, those are a few ways of exposure that, I definitely look into if I'm a high school player or, even for college, if you're looking to go to the next level, for anyone.
It's all about utilizing all those tools, right?
Yeah.
I think Soto and I didn't have the luxury of social media being
we
that
didn't have
big.
the TikToks and the
right, the Instagrams.
Yes.
But we were around when travel ball really started. Soto and I played travel ball together, and that's that's really was the start of it. And then, you know, you saw these showcases. I didn't know what a showcase was back then, but, you know, you saw the rise of showcases and camps and, you know, utilize anything and everything. And I think you kind of mentioned it earlier, is being true to yourself. What is going to help you? What are you going to succeed in, right? For some, travel ball is it. For others, travel ball might not be it, right? Travel, I mean, yeah, it has the exposure, but year-round travel ball is not for everyone. We might have someone who might want to play basketball, football, soccer, whatever, right? But utilize all those tools, and definitely that exposure comes. But social media is, I mean, huge.
Yes. And
So,
do your research too. Do your research, especially, I mean, there's so many travel ball teams now. Do your research on the tournaments that they're entering in, like the showcases, right? Because I hate to say it, there are some programs where they're kind of just it's just, hey, like, come play. We'll take your money and you just let you play.
Take your money.
We're not going to expose you, but we'll say we'll expose you, you know. But, you know, like, just do your research. I think that's truly important, especially where if you're in a state where you have, or a city when you have like 10 travel ball teams and they're all playing the same tournaments, right? You gotta find out what works for you, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And that was awesome point as well with the research. You know, when I remember being 13 and asking my mom and dad if they can sign me up for a travel ball team, and they were like, what is this travel ball stuff? How much does it cost? You know, the typical questions you'll get from a parent. And they told me, they was like, well, if you're going to sign up for a travel ball team, we don't want to just sign you up for any travel ball team. Because for one, they're paying for it. So they're like, hey, our money has to, you know, go to something that is worthwhile. And like you said, there are those travel ball teams where you kind of just go, you play, and that's really it. So, and I know one of the biggest travel ball teams now is like the Philly Scout team that is out on TikTok.
Good program.
Yes, great, awesome program. There's East Cobb Braves, East Cobb Astros, all those big organizations, Florida Travel Baseball. You know, those are awesome programs. And I think, you know, for anyone who, if you have the money, you have the skill set, you have the willingness to learn, that's somewhere where you always can trust. You always can trust those programs. They're always wanting to bring new, you know, new guys on, new athletes on, you know, so it's definitely do your research, because, you know, the prices are only going up, unfortunately, for these travel ball teams. And if you're serious about baseball, it's definitely one of the biggest investments you can make in yourself. I know there's always talks of, why would I pay that much money for this? Why would I pay that much money for that? It's an investment. You know, nothing's going to come at you if you just sit back and say, I'm just going to hit a baseball in the back of my yard and hopefully a scout, you know, drives down my street and looked at me. Like, that is, you know, that might have been maybe back in the Wade days, you might have somebody come to you, but now there's so much out where college coaches are like, why would I come to you when I can get on my phone and see the next best player in America? So you put yourself out there, take a risk. And, you know, for all the kids out there, you know, build up a persuasive, do some persuading, build up some persuasive techniques to get your parents to go out there and you know, pay the money or get you involved in the program, which is another topic is with the little kids. You know, you have these days kids that are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 who are seeing these travel ball organizations, and they're wanting to get into travel ball as well, which that is a big subject. Is like, do I start my kids out at that age? Do I keep them, you know, playing rec ball or practicing in the backyard with them? And, you know, which is a really touchy subject. But for me, if you realize, and I think around maybe 10 or 11, you can see if your kid is really serious about baseball, especially if they've been playing it since 5, that's, you know, 5, 6 years that they've been playing. You know, it might be worthwhile investing. And even if you don't want to go that travel ball route, a personal trainer, or go to your local batting cage. There's always, trainers waiting to develop younger kids, which for me, that is more of a route I would take for like the younger kids. If, maybe travel ball might not be it right now, go to a trainer, local trainer, or even if you have to travel a little bit, it's an investment. Learn how, how your swing is, learn how to field, learn how to pitch, learn how to control your body, just, and mature a little bit. And then maybe say, you know what, I'm ready for some competition. Go out to that travel ball field and tear it up.
Well said. I think, again, just using anything that's at your disposal. There's so much that's out there, and just, researching what's best for you as an individual, and use anything that's there. I want to talk about the recruitment process for you.
Yes.
Tell me, were there multiple schools that you were talking to? Did they come to you? Did you go to them? How exactly did that look? And how did you end up at Pfeiffer?
Yes, most definitely. So, with recruiting, which was very hard for me, I am the oldest out of 4 siblings, and it's me and I have a younger brother who plays ball as well. So I was kind of the guinea pig when it came to everything, especially with recruiting, baseball, and all of that. So, I created a profile page on, I think it's excuse me if I forget it wrong, but it's like one of the biggest college platforms. I created a profile there, which was to start, and got some exposure. I talked to a representative there, and they connected me with a few schools. But as far as getting recruited, I went out to showcases. Talked to the schools, and I kind of went out to them. I said, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to go out to them. And when I tell you the recruiting process, it is difficult. I had 3 schools, 3 solid schools looking at me, and then I had one potential school that was like, not really sure. And so the one school that I really wanted to go to was Pfeiffer. It was Pfeiffer. I went to a showcase at North Carolina A&T, and Pfeiffer was there. They reached out to me and said, hey, we love what we saw on the field. Here goes a contact. We'd love to bring you up for a visit. So I went on an unofficial visit, went up there, saw the campus, absolutely fell in love with it, and kind of stayed in contact with my coach a little bit, as much as the NCAA allowed for us to. And, went on an official visit there and got offered. And it was kind of very, very, very quick. In that moment, it seemed very slow, but it was very quick. Didn't have many schools looking at me. And so I took the route that best fit me, best fit my needs. I know recruiting can be a monstrous world out there, especially with kids. And do I go to the coaches? Do I let the coaches come to me? For me, I was like, I'm gonna have that go-getter mindset. If I want a coach to see me, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna go to the field. I'm gonna go to the showcase. And if they like what they see, they'll reach out. And that's what happened. I want to say it's luck, but I think what's meant to be is meant to be. If you're putting in the work and you're, worried about getting recruited, maybe take that step out and say, hey, let me showcase my skills. And if the coach wants me, they want me, they'll reach out, or you can reach out yourself. And so for me, it was more so went to the camp. They reached out to me, stayed in contact with the coach, brought me up went on 2 official visits, or 2 visits, 1 official visit. And, boom, I was enrolled and ready to play some baseball in college. But, as far as schools, I didn't have many schools looking at me, which was, for me, it was a little upsetting. And that is something that I was a little bit discouraged by. I was like, man, this is my senior year of high school. I have 3 schools, looking at me, not really even sure if they have a good eye on me or not, but don't really have many options. And I want to go play baseball, and I want to pursue, a degree and get an education. So, that in itself is very stressful. I know there's a lot of high school kids who they may only have 1 offer, and it may be from a school that is not their first choice. And I think it comes down to, are you willing to maybe take a chance on that school, work hard, and even maybe transfer or maybe stay there. Because, you know, once I got into Pfeiffer, I felt like, man, you know, I'm at home. I feel good about the decision. And of course, there's things that come along with everything. You know, everything you do has its obstacles, has its, you know, hills to climb, have those mountains to climb over. But, you know, I felt at home. I felt really good. But I think for high school students, like I said, if you have, you know, only a few schools looking at you, don't give up on it quite yet. Reach out, keep reaching out, keep going to showcases, or maybe if it's one or two showcases, you never know. That one showcase or that one email you send could be the start of your recruitment process or the school that you get to go to. And that's, you know, for me, that's kind of how it went. I took a chance, went to the showcase. Coach saw me, he liked what he saw, and boom, I was presented with an opportunity that, you know, change who I am.
That's awesome. I think, you know, going out there, right? I even myself in high school, I was like, okay, the only way that I'm taking the next step is if a scout comes and checks me out, right? Like that's the
Yes.
only way, is a scout has to come see me, but go to them, right? Like
Yes.
why not? Why not? They're not used to that. And there's a handful that are going to do this and continue to do this, but
Yeah.
the old way was just once the scout shows up, that's how you get recognized. But if
Yes.
you're in a small little town, scout might not see you, right? So
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
out and go get found, go make that, you know, that next step. For you, 2019, I'm going to read some pretty numbers here. 369 average, 48 hits, 42 ribbies, 546 slugging percentage. Not too shabby. First state all honors.
Yes.
Nice work. But then that leads into 2020. You know, the season that kind of got dumped. So, you know, walk us through your 2020 season. How did that go?
Yeah. So coming off that 2019 season, you know, I'm riding high. Everything is going good. The juices are flowing. I'm feeling good. Had a fantastic season, and 2020 comes, and it's crazy because 2020 came and I ended up getting injured. This was actually I got injured. It was the second game of the season. Ended up hurting my hamstring. I had an awesome first game. You know, I had like 2 doubles, couple RBIs, and just was an awesome game. No errors on the 1,000 fielding percentage going into that game, and ended up getting hurt my second game. And I was like, man, you know, I worked so hard junior year. I did so good. And 2020 is just not starting off how I wanted, which we all know what else happens in 2020 as well. So going through the season, you know, I had some hardship 2020. I'll be real with people. I was very much on that. I did good last season is going to follow through. Not that I necessarily, my work ethic lacked. I think it was a mentality thing. I was so in my head of, I did this last season, I have to do this season in 2020. So I came to 2020 gets here, end up getting hurt. That's a little bit of a setback. Had to build back up. It was my hamstring, what I heard, had to build back up. Soon as I start getting ramped up, COVID hits. And I'm like, man, are you serious? I just got over an injury and I played all of we had played 12 games and I played maybe 7 of them, which were maybe 2 or 3 complete games. Which there was some hardship there. And when I tell you baseball, there's no perfect explanation to how the game of baseball is than to 2020. Like if you want to, if I could give you an example of how, or anyone an example of how is the game of baseball, I would say, you know, it's like 2020, because you win some, you lose some, you make some errors, you don't, you get some hits, you don't get some hits. And I think for athletes, including myself, 2020 was one of those years where you really had to hold on to and fight through adversity. You know, some kids, they lost their senior year of school and they said, well, do I go into the work world, or do I take an extra year of college, or what do I do? And honestly, before that, it was very unknowing. When COVID hit, I remember our coach bringing us in and he said, hey boys, COVID's getting pretty serious. We're not really sure how the season's going to play out or whatnot. And literally like the next day, or I think it was the day after that, they said, oh, 2020 is canceled. NCAA came out with their stuff. And I was like, wow, like that. I was like, I didn't even get to have like my last like closing practice or anything. And so I was faced with a lot of adversity. And I know a lot of, whether you're high school or college, and even some of the pros got affected with, minor leaguers got affected with COVID, major leaguers and got affected with COVID as well. And so 2020 was a weird year for me. It was a weird year. And that was the year where I told myself, I said, I dealt with some injury. I dealt with COVID. I dealt with struggling with, stats, comparing last year's to this year and trying to live up to that. I was like, man, you know what? I said, I'm gonna go into the work world and see what happens. And like I said, that's kind of what led me to TikTok and creating content and everything. And super grateful for that happening. I know everyone's like, man, COVID's this, COVID's that, but it brought so much joy into the world, even though it was such a horrible thing that happened. A lot of people, that was their chance to really show out who they are. That was their chance to maybe say, hey, season gets cut short, you know what, I get an early off season, I get a longer time to work out and get better for the next season. So yeah, for me 2020 was very, very hard. And through college, even with that, I had a really hard career. I dealt with some injuries from freshman year all the way up to my last year. And many people don't know, my sophomore year, I ended up tearing my quad. I tore my rectus femoris, which is like, it goes from my hip to like the front of my knee. I tore that completely. And coming in freshman year, came in as a shortstop. And we had a senior over me, which this dude was absolutely just awesome good. I was like, I'm gonna wait my turn. I'm gonna do my due diligence on the team. And sophomore year, I stepped into that shortstop role. And it was in October. We went to a scout day and I ran the 60-yard dash and I tore my quad. And I was like, man, like starting position is mine. Like I'm starting in all of our inter squad scrimmages. Spring season's about to come up. And this is boom, early on to college career. I have a torn quad. And so I was out for this was in October. I was out all the way up until our spring season, which got going in like late February, early March. And so I come back and I'm like, I'm the man. I'm coming back. I'm on the field. I'm going to play. And I start at short. And error after error after error, yip after yip, like strikeout after strikeout. When I tell you, if you go to my sophomore season, that will tell you what all happened. What all happened that season. And so
we won't pull those numbers up. We won't.
Yeah, we won't.
Pull it up.
We don't have those. We don't have those.
I like the junior year numbers a lot better. But sophomore year, it was bad. It was bad, man. So I got benched, which was very eye-opening to me, because I was always that player growing up to where you're starting, you're the leader, you're this and that. And for the first time ever, I got to feel how, it feels to be on the bench, how it feels to, cheer on your teammates, being not being on the field. And so, went through sophomore year and I told myself from that day on, I said, you know what? I said, this was a minor setback, but I'm gonna go to work. And my sophomore year, from when I first got benched to the start of junior year, I was in the cages on the field every single day. We'd get done at practice like 8-9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, hey coach, do you mind, flipping me some balls? Do you mind, let's work on some pitch recognition stuff. And just absolutely went to work sophomore year, and junior year came and I still carried on that work ethic. And the numbers showed. And I was like, wow, how is this, I won't say easy, but how is this happening? And I look back and I was like, all those late nights, all those extra reps, all that, studying, watching, the game, watching those who I look up to really, it really came into play. It showed for itself. And like I said, junior year was good and senior year struggled, but and this is just a testament to high schoolers, or even if you're playing college ball, never give up, never stop. Just never give up. One of my biggest inspirations is Derrick Rose, because of he's gone through so many injuries, but he's one of those players where he's like, I'm going to get back on the court, I'm going to prove something. And that is just that is sports right there. You're going to face adversity, you're going to face hardships, but you have to keep going. And like I said, 2020 is one of those years where, if you want to compare it to baseball, look at 2020 and say, oh, I didn't get that call, or I didn't make that play, or I didn't get that hit. And that's kind of how 2020 went. But you always know that there's room for improvement. There's always the light at the end of the tunnel.
Hell yeah. And I think, the theme of just like what your story is resilience, man. Like you're so, just what you've told is just resilience, the drive. It's inspiring. To be injured, to get benched, to deal with COVID, to freaking not have your senior year, and still to talking to you now and where you're at now, like, dude, like that's freaking awesome. We talk about 2020. Juan and I, we're married now to our beautiful wives, but we were supposed to get married in 2020 and that didn't happen.
Wow.
We still pushed through. Resilience, you know what I mean? But no, there's a lot of hardships. And since we're on 2020, that's the creation of RBIRA, man. Like that's first couple videos. I love it. So kind of talk, like, switching gears now, talking about RBIRA. What was the motivating factor to making your TikToks? Like, just walk us through that.
So the motivating factor of making the TikToks. Well, first I'll start out how I even got the name. When I was younger, my dad, my name's Ira. And so my dad, always was like, man, you're an RBI machine, man, you're scoring these runs, this and that. And my dad actually came up with the name. He said RBIRA. And at first, as a little kid, you're like, Dad, come on, like that's corny, that's cheesy. But it stuck with me. And it's crazy because when I first thought about TikTok and getting on and creating videos, I thought of what is something that I can go by that sticks, that is me, that relates back to, my childhood, or relates back to my life. And RBIRA was that. Props to my dad if he hears this, but props to him because he came up with the name, and I kind of stuck with it since then. And so moving on to how I got started with TikTok. To be fair, to be honest, I always thought TikTok was this little kid's app that was just the cheesiest, corniest thing alive. And I told myself, I said, I kid you not, you can ask my wife to this day. She would tell you, I told her, I said, I will never make a TikTok. I told her that. I said, I will never make a TikTok account. I said, I don't even want to watch TikToks. I was like, it's just a bunch of little kids dancing and crazy videos. And she got me to sign up. She drew me in, got me to sign up and create a TikTok account. Actually, it didn't start with me creating a TikTok account. She would show me TikToks all the time. And I'm just like, okay, I will create a TikTok account. I created the account. And I just started scrolling through, and I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty addicting. I can see how people are on the app. And I saw different creators. A lot of them were just dancing and, the Charlie D'Amelio and all those Addison Rae and all them. I saw them and I was just like, I was like, how can I make this app enjoyable for me? And so with me, I said, what are things that I like? And like I said early on, it was dancing because I tried the whole dancing thing, which was not me. All the trends that were going on, just tried them. And so I said, you know what? I have a deep rooted connection with baseball. I said, I played baseball since I was like 3 or 4 years old. That's all my family talks about. That's all I've talked about. And I play baseball as well. So I'm like, let's create a baseball TikTok account. And so that's kind of how, it came along. And my inspiration came from just the trends. I would look at trends and I would think, how can I turn this into a baseball trend? How can I turn this into a baseball video? And it's so funny because when I first started creating the videos, um, a lot of my teammates gave me some slack for it. They was like, oh, TikTok guy, baseball guy, this and that. And I'm just like, yeah, going to create my video with like one follower, which is like my wife. So, but yeah, I started creating the videos and realized that, wow, these are actually getting exposure and people are actually liking these. And so, I just started going from there. And one of my, or a few of the biggest inspiration, like Jackson Olsen, Trevor Fonstrom, even Baseball Dad, like I met him with the creator class thing. And I told him, I said, I was fanboying a little bit. I said, hey man, I watched all your videos before. You're like the OG of TikTok and all this stuff. So I always give credit where credit is due. Guys like that, they really they were part of my inspiration and motivation to create these videos as well. And I think on TikTok it's pretty clear, of the community we have, the baseball community. It's pretty closely knit. And with me, I'm finding new baseball accounts literally every single day. Just as, we connected, and I'll forever keep this connection. It's good. It's just great to meet people. And for me, that was something that went along in creating my content as well. I said, I want to create content that, not as just funny to people, but people really can relate to. And with me, it's funny because when I'm making these videos, I'll laugh at myself because I'm like, yeah, that was me. That was me. Like the guy who airmails the ball, that's me. Like that was me. And I'm like, oh wait, stay there. I'm gonna go get it. Like, but when I'm creating some of these videos, I'm like, I think of who I was as a baseball player, and I put them into my videos. And I think for anyone who's wanting to create content, that's probably one of the best ways you can do it. Think of some of the memories you had with baseball. The guy who always asked for seeds. We all have that guy on our team. The guy who forgets his bat and has to ask everyone for their bat. We have that guy, so relating it back to my experience, my life is what really carried me through on TikTok. And, it's here lately, it's been a little slow on TikTok. I haven't posted as much because, the lockout and just things are slow. Things have been picking up with me, in my personal life as well. But, that's just, baseball is awesome. It's awesome. And I love to create the content. I love making people laugh. I love making people smile, and bringing people together as one. And so, when it comes to TikTok, like I said, I never imagined being on TikTok, creating videos and calling myself a content creator, but here I am. I'm like, people are like, oh, what are your TikToks about? Or, what are some of the fun things you do? Actually, I've had some interviews with jobs and they're like, what are some of your hobbies? And I'm like, don't tell them TikTok. I'm like, don't tell them TikTok because that might sound bad. But I tell them, I'm like, I'm a content creator. I create content on TikTok. And I'm trying to emerge on Instagram and want to get a YouTube channel out as well. And so it's just to sum it up, it's just awesome. And just the people you meet, the content you see, the videos, everything on there is, that's my inspiration, and that's where I get it from.
Love that. I mean, who needs a resume? You just send them your TikTok. Hey, go take a look,
Yes.
I think back when you said, like, think about like the player who you were. I was the foodie. I was like the guy that had a 3-course meal in the dugout, you know what I mean, eating away. And I was like Rite Aid. I was the guy. Hey, you need ibuprofen? I got you. You need Tiger Balm? I'm your guy. You know?
Yeah.
I was that guy.
I'm the guy who's like, I'm the guy who comes to you. I'm like, you know, I'm like, hey man, I know I've asked you this like 5 times in a row, but you know, you got some more ibuprofen, or you got some Tiger Balm, or like, I'm like, you know, you got some seeds, you got some gum, whatever it is. But that's, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's like we all can relate back and think of ourselves. Who was I as a player, and who do I relate to? And how do I relate to the game? And you know, you picture yourself in that moment. Like I legitimately picture myself, you know, as a kid, you know, someone who is, my parents are, you know, we had a van, we had a minivan growing up. So, you know, my mom's driving me to practice, and, you know, we're hopping out, running onto the field. And I'm like calling my mom, like, hey mom, I left my glove at home. Can you bring it back? And I have 3 other siblings who are all doing the same thing. So it's, you know, it brings back memories. And I try to incorporate that in TikTok, because it hits home when you're watching a video and you're like, man, that was my dad, or man, that was me, or man, that was, you know, that's a baseball moment right there. So yeah, that's it's awesome. It's awesome.
I saw the beginning of your TikToks. You did a couple of those the kid voice ones where, hey, I those were the good ones, dude. Those were funny.
Yes.
Those funny. Oh my gosh, like you went in full character. You're like, hey, my dad. Dude, I love those. I love those. But sorry,
I got some slack. I got some slack for those. My mom and dad, they called. I remember after making the first video I made, they called me up and they were like, man, you look like an absolute fool on the ground. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I know. I put myself out there for that. I put myself out there. But you know, those are the videos that I love the most, when I'm just like, I'm a goof off and make a fool of myself. And this is funny. A lot of people that don't know this about me, but I was the type of person to where when I'm by myself, I'm the most confident person. And I have all these great ideas, but I was like, I never wanted to actually do them. And I'm, you know, really proud of myself, because I'm like, man, I thought about making these videos, but I didn't just think about making the videos. I'm going out and making the videos. And you know, that's a lesson in itself. If there's anyone that's dealing with, you know, that lack of self-confidence, or, hey, people are going to make fun of me for making these videos, or, hey, I don't really know where to start. If you have an idea, do it. Like that was me. Like if you look through my the early videos, I think those are some of my best videos, because I would literally come up with an idea, and no matter what, I can be eating cereal at 11 p.m. at night, and I would say, you know what, I'm gonna make this video regardless of what time it is, regardless of what I'm doing. I'm gonna make this video, regardless of how I look, what I'm doing. Like, that's what I did. And I still do that now. I kind of have it more down packed to where it's on like a schedule, or I know like when I'm gonna post, and I kind of, you know, write it out and things like that. But that's what I did. If I thought of an idea, I go make the video. If I didn't have, you know, my bat or glove around, or if I wasn't near a field, like when I tell you I was just so dedicated to make a video, I was like, I'm gonna go home, grab my stuff, and I'm gonna go back to the field because I'm thinking of this video and make that video. Or if I'm just sitting on the couch, I'd be like, wow, I can make this, you know, make this into a baseball trend. Let me get up, put on my stuff, and go down to the field, or whatever it is. So that's, you know, that's what I did. That's what I did. And it, you know, it's been going really good. I'm super grateful for, you know, all the opportunities, and just to even be able to make content.
I love that. And there is a specific video that I wanted to touch on, and if we could reflect on this.
Yes.
So this is June 4th, okay?
Yes.
2020. It says, when you think you're gonna get TikTok famous. Now looking back, right? Close to 2 years. RBIRA, right? MLB content creators, almost 60,000 followers. Well, you know, we're gonna round up 60,000 followers.
60,000.
Yes.
Like, what are your thoughts on that, man? Like, isn't that crazy? Like, look at where you are now.
Yes, that is it's very it's almost like an indescribable experience, because at one point I was like, man, you know what? I never will have these opportunities. I'm gonna make the videos. I like making the videos, but I don't know where this is gonna go. And to look back at that now and to see, I once had, 2, 3, 4, 5 followers, or I once was checking the app every day to see, man, did that 5 follower move to 6 followers? Which, fun fact, I still do, because just the thrill of getting a follower, like, it's not just a number, it's somebody. But to really look back at that is something that, you look at it and you're like, wow, if I put in the work, look what happens. And like I said, I never imagined, being an MLB ambassador. Like, that was crazy. I remember when MLB first followed me, I was like, man, this is like MLB, like, this is like every kid's dream, and they're following me. And the first comment they ever had on there, I was like, wow. And it's funny because in those moments, you're so excited, you're so happy and everything, but you don't realize what you're seeing is you're seeing the benefits, or you're reaping what you've sowed in that moment. So you see, hey, I've been making these videos and people are noticing me. And so, while it's like, oh my gosh, that's great and all, but sometimes you have to step back and see, man, like, okay, I did put in some work for this, or, give yourself some more credit. And I think with a lot of people, one thing that we don't do enough in this world is give ourselves enough credit for what we do. And my wife will even tell you, there's times where I'm just like, that video was okay or whatnot, or, man, I didn't get the viewers I wanted, or, the engagement I wanted. And she'll tell me, like, hey, look at your account, look at what you've done, look at where you've came from, look at the person you are. And my motto is, I no longer worry about how many views or anything I got. I worry about if my video impacted the person that it was meant to impact. So as long as, and I might not know, if I get one view, and that one view was for that person that needed that video that day, I did my job. And that's how I look at it today. And I think that is a great equation for growth, because, you can get wrapped up into, oh, look at how many followers or viewers you have, but never lose sight of, you have to have followers. You have to have people to get you there. You are impacting people. When somebody see a funny video, it can go deeper than it just being funny. I've had little kids come up to me like, oh man, you make TikTok videos? And they're like, I absolutely love your videos, this and that. And I'm like, wow, to me, making that video might be funny in the instance, but you have little kids who look up to you. You have little kids who they're inspired to go make videos as well. So for me, like I said, it's never just a number. And not worrying about the followers, not worrying about those views, worrying about, did you make a difference in somebody's life that you were supposed to make a difference in? And that's, I will forever follow by that. And it's always good to remind yourself, hey, you did come from this. And if I can use my platform for positive things, for growth in other individuals, I'm all for it. And it's truly an honor, and I'm grateful for every single opportunity. Like I said, with MLB, I remember them saying, oh, we're starting the creator class, and we had to create a video explaining why. And I created my video, and it got like 4,000 views maybe. And I was like, man, there's people on here that had like 200,000 views for their MLB application. I'm never going to get picked. I'm never going to, get to do that. And I was like, I have an okay following, but I just didn't, I didn't believe in myself at that chance. At that time, I'll be honest, I didn't believe in myself. And, MLB reached out to me, and I was like, wow. I was like, never tell yourself that you can't do something. That was an eye-opening moment for me, because I said, there's always someone watching you, whether you think they're not, or, there's always someone watching you. No matter how many views you have, how many followers you have, none of that matters. Just always remember, there is somebody watching you. There is someone that has, your best intentions, or, there's always that person. And for me, that was that eye-opening moment to where I was like, even though MLB followed me and I submitted my, my video, and there was many people with, more followers and more views and everything else, they had an eye on me. And that's even in sports. Just, always remember, there's somebody watching you. There's somebody having their eye on you. There's somebody that does want you. And as a content creator, I think that is one of the biggest things you can remember, because I found out that each day there's always people posting. There's always accounts rolling out content, like literally by the seconds. You can refresh your TikTok page probably for the next 24 hours and you will probably see a new video. And that goes to tell you that there's so much content that there probably have to be just as many eyes out there as well looking at you. So with me, trying to not get so caught up in, oh, this account is doing this or this account is doing that. Just stay in your lane, create your content, do what you do best. And like I always say, the chips will fall, where they need to fall. And so that was very, like I said, eye-opening, having that opportunity with MLB, and I've had some opportunity with Baseball Lifestyle, and some other companies that have reached out to me. So I'm like, that goes to show, keep putting in the work, and don't look back.
Man, you inspired me right there. I'm like ready to post my next TikTok already.
Ready to make a TikTok like this already.
I'm already making it. Like, first off, I want to thank you for helping pave the way for baseball content creators. This isn't, this is still very fresh, and that a lot of people don't realize that baseball and social media is very, very fresh in this way. I think you're part of our social media team, not that we have a social media team, but our social media motto, like everything that you just said, is like literally these are conversations that Soto and I have together, talking about, it's not about the followers. At the end of the day, we check our followers, we check our listens, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's who are we impacting? What relationships, what conversations are we having? Who, if this episode that we're doing right now, if 2 people listen to it, if 2 people watch it and it changes their life, we did our job.
Yeah.
We did our job. Right. And so I think that's a big thing for those future content creators, is just realizing, it's not always about the views. It's not always about the listens, the followers, the numbers. It's more about the quality of what you're putting out.
Yes.
And then following up on that, really for us, we grew a lot when we figured out what top of the lineup was. Some self-reflection. We used to look up to, and we still do in different ways, but Barstool Sports and this podcast and this, and they're great because they are who they are. And we tried to emulate that in our first 15, probably 10 to 15 episodes.
I mean we weren't even ourselves, for a while. We were putting on this persona of like just what they were doing, and that wasn't us. It
wasn't. And now being ourselves, I think we've found a new realm, and it's so many multifaceted. We talk about it. When we started our podcast, it was, fan based. We're talking about teams,
Major League Baseball.
That's it. Right. And Soto and I have so much more interest than just Major League Baseball. MLB is great, but we love college, we love high school, we love youth, we love, the World Baseball Classic, like you name it, foreign leagues, everything. We love every little ounce of baseball, and we started exploring everything. We've talked to coaches, we've talked to content creators, we've talked to Max Greenfield, who's even done, front office type work. So, for us, it was a big part of our growth was just figuring out who we are and exploring us. And I'm giving you like my self review of top of the
That's
lineup.
Here's our sales pitch. Here's our sales pitch. You know,
are you on board?
No.
No.
Well, we found in reality, like just hopping on, like in reality, we found our mission because we didn't have, every company in reality has a mission statement, right? Like, but for us, it's like, what do we want to be remembered as? What do we want to be known for? And it's like, okay, we're a baseball podcast. All right. Well, there's a lot of baseball podcasts. Yes. There's a lot of Major League Baseball specific podcasts. What's going to make us different? And the biggest thing for us is like, okay, our mission is to grow the game. All right. Well, how are we going to grow the game? Well, we're going to have conversations. Okay. Well, all these podcasters are talking to Major League Baseball players. We don't have those connections just yet.
Not yet.
Like, hey, why don't we? Because in reality, every person in the baseball community has a story. Whether you're a baseball fan, you played Little League, you played high school, you're a content creator, you're a coach, everyone has a story, and everyone's story deserves to be heard because you don't know, right? I had no idea that you were a champion, D3 champion. I had no idea.
Nope.
And it's these conversations that just make it worthwhile. Like if we were to stop the podcast tomorrow, like I would be just super happy the fact that we were able to have a conversation with you, right? So we digress. Like these are the things, like we're big baseball guys, but when we start talking about like the deep, really deep motivations behind why we do things, like that stuff gets us excited.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So yes. Oh,
welcome to our annual review.
I feel you guys. I mean, I am exactly the same way. And when you guys reached out to me, I told my wife, I said, this podcast right here, I said, this is awesome. I said, this is awesome because I listened to, quite a few of you guys podcasts. And I said, the things that they talk about are so authentic that why wouldn't you want to be on that podcast? And just why wouldn't you? And it was and before we even jumped on today, I said, I was like, wow, I'm pretty honored to be on a podcast. This is my first podcast I've ever been on. And I was thrilled, man. I was thrilled to be on it because I'm like, I can talk baseball with people, but it's not just like you said, MLB players, it's real life things, things that, and I think you guys' podcast is almost like my content. It's like real life relatable experiences, but hey, we're going to talk about those things. We're going to, ask you questions about those things. We're going to discuss and collab, and it's awesome. Like I said, you guys' podcast I think it's going somewhere. I can't tell you where, but I know it's somewhere, and I know you guys are going to be very, very successful. I just have a good feeling because you guys are authentic guys just from meeting and text a few times, and then now here it's you can feel that you guys are very authentic people. You're doing awesome with the game, and the podcast is going great, and I'm honored, honestly honored to be on here.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah,
we appreciate
first one. Hell yeah. Love it.
Yes,
we'll take those honors every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So diving into the creator class. So, MLB reaches out to you, DMs you, follows you, comments, like, dude, that, first of all, that's amazing. That's our dream for sure. But just, what was it like? Like, talk to us about the World Series. What was, just anything. Let's hear about
it. It was awesome. When I tell you one of the best experience, I'm not going to say the best because my wife would get mad because getting married is supposed to be the best.
Hey, we all are the same thing.
Yes. So it was one of the best, second best experience that I've had in a long time. They brought us on as content creators. We got to meet their marketing team. We got up close with them, got to learn them personally, who they are. And the biggest thing to me was being able to see some of these creators who I look up to and to meet them. face to face. So like I said, Jackson Olsen, Trevor Fonstrom, baseball dad. I got to meet little man, Caitlin, Amy, like meeting all of those people. That was one of the most surreal moments I've had in life. And the World Series was awesome, which I'll touch on that a little bit. And going to these games and creating content was awesome, but just to see other content creators face to face and know like, hey, they're a real person. Hey, I get to actually talk to them and have conversations with them. It was priceless. It was priceless because you get to see, just as I have a brain, they have a brain. Just as I create content, they create content, and just that that moment was one of the biggest moments, one of the greatest moments I'd say, and just overall, the creator class was awesome. Like I said, we got to meet their marketing team, got to plan out each month what our content was going to be, and the freedom that they gave us for ideas for content to post was just, there was no limitations. They told us whatever you want to post, you post. They really encouraged us to be ourselves, to post the content that we want, which was my biggest fear was, okay, I know I'm posting for MLB, but is everything going to have to be revolving around a certain player or players? Or they told us, they was like, you're an advocate for MLB. And they gave us the freedom to post what we want and our ideas, which was awesome. And to touch on the World Series, and that's where I really met all the content creators. The World Series was an experience. It was my first World Series ever. I've always dreamed of as a little kid going to the World Series. I'm a Phillies fan. Unfortunately, I'm a Phillies fan. And Phillies weren't playing, obviously, but just to be there was one of the things that I was very grateful for. I got to meet some players. I got to meet the commissioner. I think probably the best moment I had at the World Series was, I think it was meeting Jazz Chisholm. And it was, I don't know if Jazz remember this. Hopefully he does, but I remember I was like, go up, hey Jazz, because I'm like nervous. I'm like, man, this is in front of Jazz Chisholm. Like, this dude is one of the most like exciting players in the game today. But he's one of the most humblest players you'll ever meet, and just authentic players you'll ever meet. And I got to meet him. And funny story, I'm RBIRA or whatever, big fan of yours, shake his hand. I'm like, do you mind getting a picture? And so we're taking a picture. There's a table behind us and there's like drinks on the table or whatever. And I go to put my arm over his shoulder and I hit a drink and it about spills on Jazz. And I'm like, dude, this is not a good first impression, but drink spills. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Jazz. Like, I'm so sorry, dude. Like, I'm like, I don't know how I can make it up to him, but I'm like, I'll make it up to you. Like, and his response, which was golden. His response to me was, hey man, it's all right. He said, it's okay. It's not, no hard feelings. It's just clothes. And that right there was one of I will forever remember that, because it shows you that these players have a heart. These players are humans. They're just like us. They just play baseball at a bigger level. That's, but they're just like us. And I was like, man, like, this dude is a really stand-up guy. And it's funny because he didn't have to say it's okay. He could have been like, man, you spilled, a drink on my clothes. Like, who is this guy? But he recognized me. He saw me as a person. He saw me as, hey, mistakes happen. And that was a embarrassing, funny, just a lot of emotions going on in that moment. A lot of emotions going on. But the World Series was awesome. Got to watch, we went to games 2 and 3, I believe. So we were in Houston. We went to Houston the first night. Actually, yeah, first night we got in Houston, they didn't have a game. Then we went to the game the next day. And then after that game, the next day they flew us out to Atlanta, went to watch the Braves play, and the experience. I will be honest, I did not watch most of the game. I did not watch much of any of the game, the 2 games we went to, because it was just so much to take in. Just the food was like the food was one of them.
Touch on that.
I stuck around the food. Like they had like a little food bar for us, and like was hot dogs, hamburgers, pasta, like just an array of just almost whatever you want. And then at the end they had like an ice cream bar. So, I'm just like, they got me with the food. That's enough for me to like say, hey, the World Series is awesome. But it was an awesome experience. And I would tell anyone, if you can just go to the World Series, because the atmosphere there, you can tell everyone was there because they love baseball. Everyone, like no matter who was there. And going through, like you'll bump into some people and whatnot, but everyone was kind. Everyone was nice, because they're like, hey, this is baseball, especially after COVID. It's baseball. Everyone's in one area, but both places were electric. I've gotten the question, which was better, Houston or Atlanta? It's funny because I grew up in Georgia. And I'd have to say, Atlanta was definite. I think Atlanta was better. I think Atlanta's energy was better, but I will tell you that game 7 when Soler hit that home run, I can probably tell you that was one of the most electric. And I wish I was there. I wish I was there, but I think Houston had Atlanta beat at that moment. But yeah, World Series was great. It was awesome. Got to meet some people. Got to meet the commissioner. Got to meet CC Sabathia, Harold Reynolds, Xavier Scruggs. It was just awesome being around the content creators, being around these MLB players. And some people may not know this, but in our suite, we had 2 Chainz was in our suite with us. So he had seats with us. So I was like, this is it was overwhelming in a way, but I was just so grateful to even be there. Like, I could have sat in the nosebleeds and it would have been the best experience ever, because who doesn't want to go to the World Series? And just to have, those things transpire with being in the MLB creator class, I really took a look back at when I first started creating videos, and I was like, who would have known that someone who said TikTok was nothing, end up getting sucked into it, end up making videos, could be here. And if there's anyone creating content and you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna push out content, or I don't know what to post, I don't know if this is ever going to be anything, just keep posting. Like, it sounds so cliche, but it's literally just keep posting. There's going to be days where it feels like, I'm just posting this just to post. But I will be honest, there are days where I'm like, I don't really know what to post. And, I might take a selfie type of video and put some text over it. I know TikTok now, it's like, make a video, make it 7 seconds with a lot of text, and people will keep playing your video over. Like, it's, just try and post. But that creative class was awesome. World Series was awesome. It's an experience I won't ever forget, and it's the second best experience of my life.
Yep. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for sharing that. Like, I think that's freaking just exciting. And you're right. If you love baseball, it doesn't matter where you're sitting. I mean, we went to the Giants Dodgers playoff game, and we were in the nosebleeds, but hey, we had time of our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, if you love the game, you'll be there. And hey, fun fact, it's not going to be $10,000 like it was in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So you'll be all right, But got one more question for you. We usually ask everyone that come on, but for you, RBIRA, why baseball?
Why baseball? Man, that is why baseball. I would answer it with why not baseball, but that's
That's a good answer.
Hey,
it's like, but yeah, why baseball? Baseball is it's a game, it's a sport that teaches a lot of things. And my one of my biggest mottos I go by is, you will never, or one of the biggest measures of success is failure. And with baseball, that quote goes well with baseball, whether it's making content or playing the game, or watching the game, because even with watching the game, there's so much to it to not like it. There's so much to it to not play it, to not enjoy it, to not even think about it. And that's why baseball. And like I said, the biggest measure of success, or one of the biggest measures, is failure. Baseball it shows you, you'll go up, you'll strike out sometimes, but guess what? You'll also get a hit. I mean, you might make an error, but that ball is going to find you again, and you have another chance to make that play. And so when it comes to life, I relate baseball with just about everything I do. If I'm trying to learn how to, I don't know, if I'm trying to learn how to get a certain angle on a video I'm doing, I always think back, you know what? Everything doesn't come easy. And with baseball, nothing really comes easy. I have my failures, I have my success, but I have to keep trying. Obstacles, things are going to come and try to knock us down. And when I think about baseball, I think about life. And when I think about life, I think about baseball. So when you guys ask, why baseball, it's because it teaches us to persevere. It teaches us to be resilient. It teaches us to fight through adversity. And you can use that in any aspect of life. So that's why baseball.
I love that. I think when you said, when I think about baseball, I think about life. When I think about life, I think about baseball. I think I might get that tattooed somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. You gotta send me the picture if you do.
Yeah. You'll be the first one to get it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was great to get to know your backstory, talk baseball, and all forms of it. We appreciate you hopping on. But last thing I want to say is shout out to all three of our wives, because it is Valentine's Day, and
Yes.
I didn't realize this. I don't think Soto realized it when we scheduled it.
I messaged him this morning. I was like, hey, forgot it's Valentine's Day. Are you still good? Whoopsies.
That's fine, man. It's yeah, shout out to them. They're a real one for today. Today. But yeah, I was right on with you guys. You texted me. I said, I was like, yeah, I'm still good. I mean, I had it planned in on the calendar. I honestly did not, when we planned, I did not realize that Monday was Valentine's Day. I just was like, oh, Monday at this time works well, but it's shout out to them. It all works out, and I'm just super grateful for the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate it. More to come. We'll definitely reach out. Hopefully, if we're ever on your end of the states, we'll do an in-person TikTok, all three of us.
Oh,
huh?
yeah, yes.
We'll see who has the best dance moves then.
Oh,
Oh, man.
Look, come on through. That's fine by me.
We appreciate it, man.
Oh yeah, thank you guys.